Hey everybody, it's Dark Sword. Welcome to Veteran Talk, Wednesday night edition. We've got some good stories for you, some good things, some bad things, and maybe some goofy stuff, and some more information for those of you who are looking to possibly get into their own personal business with primarily in this case farming or ranching. We'll get to that towards the end of the show, of course. I don't want to waste people's time with it, but it's some really good information. Now, tonight I have as my co host is Raven Nevermore, or affectionately known as Nevermore. She's also a veteran and is well spoken about how things should be. Nevermore, introduce yourself, please.
I was waiting. I was like, this is going downhill fast. Yeah, my gamer tag's Raven Nevermore, but in the online world, you can just call me Nevermore. I have actually been doing talk shows for 4 or 5 years now, so give it your best shot. And people don't generally like my opinion, but I give it anyway.
Well, it's an opinion, everyone has one. So let's go ahead and jump right in here as usual. And some good news. Um, the remains of one of our brothers who was killed in Pearl Harbor nearly 80 years later has been identified. Navy Seaman First Class Buford H. Dyer was 19 years old, and he was killed during the attack on Pearl Harbor. He was accounted for on August 6th, and this information was just released. So it's one of those issues where they probably had trouble finding next of kin and informing them. So the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency does wonderful work. You know, when they find remains, they work for decades to identify the remains that are found in some cases. He was one of the 429 who died on the battleship USS Oklahoma during the attack.
Wow, he was 19.
We lose a lot of 18, 19-year olds in military service, sadly. But scheduled to be buried on April 11th in Seville, Ohio, I would assume. So, but they, you know, the accounting, the POW MIA County Agency, uh, like I said, does wonderful work. They really cross all their T's, dot their I's, and make sure, you know, that the individuals are identified, our service members are identified, and I'm sure he'll be buried with full military honors when the time
Yeah.
comes.
Oh, it looks like he was gonna be buried back in April, but they probably kept his DNA and went ahead and let him be buried because my
Mm,
dad was a Navy sailor, but during Vietnam, and he said even then they were having a hard time, even with family members still around, because they were kind of out to sea for 2 and 3 years. They were
mm.
having a really hard time identifying some of these soldiers just because finding next of kin was like a needle in a haystack. If you
Well,
didn't know who the body belonged to, you didn't have anybody to compare it to.
right, and that's kind of what has happened, and that's why it takes a long time to make um, these identifications in some cases. But it says he will be buried, so he hasn't been interned yet. Interred. So hopefully, you know, it all goes well, and there's not going to be an issue. Now, let's go to some fun stuff. This is posted on November 18th. I'm slow on checking some of this stuff. Okay. Here's your title, lest we forget: The Handbrake. British vets crash armored vehicle into village memorial on Armistice Day. If these weren't too enlisted, I would be surprised. Okay. These are older gentlemen. In Cheshire, England, the day of remembrance and reflection was shattered when a couple of vets and a handbrake spawned a meadow's worth of oopsie daisies. These two former soldiers were at the center of the gaff after forgetting to deploy the brakes of a scimitar armored recon vehicle during the village's moment of silent observance during Remembrance Day.
Oopsie.
Tell me these weren't enlisted.
Dude, I mean, let's think about it. If the Natty Girls parked outside our residence right now, you can't tell me that we wouldn't be in there, like, driving Humvees and screw the handbrake. God
Yeah,
knows what freaking the enlisted veterans would do. I mean, we break shit. That's what we're for.
and that's what they did.
Hmm.
It's just they were trying to do something funny, or not something funny, but something kind of cool. They rented. Um,
It said in the article it was a surprise, but boy, did
yeah,
they not see that coming.
yeah. It was. They rented an armored vehicle for the day for the tune of U.S. about $1,300. All right. And they were laughing and waving as they drove through the village towards the gardens. Well, when they decided to stop, apparently they didn't put it in neutral or they didn't put it in park, and it lurched over and destroyed some of the memorial. All right. Now, let's go back up.
I mean,
No,
I
hang on.
understand it's a solemn day, but other than the civvies, that the veterans were probably laughing their ass off.
Oh, I'm
I
sure
mean, it
they
literally
were.
says he wrote, "Oops,
Uh
oops." He wrote, "A bit embarrassed to say the least. I
huh.
will make a personal donation. Here's my wallet. Fix this."
Now, here's the amusing part. Where is it? Oh, I missed it somewhere here. Surprise. Um, One of them is a former mayor of the town. It's got to be back up towards the top. Um, yeah, he's the former soldiers. One's a counselor, and the former mayor are the two idiots that did this.
Go back down a second. Well, I was trying to see what the world that would right there. Uh, Oh, the one blamed the other. Of course, that's the way it goes. It says he later confessed that it was he, not Langdon, who caused the kerfuckle.
Yep,
Fuffalo?
kerfuffle.
Whatever should be a kerfuckle.
For these idiots. Yeah, again, enlisted. There's no two ways about it. And they're not young, but I mean, it just
Aw, this
really.
is not this is not cool. They said we were not aware beforehand this vehicle would be used, and it's entirely inappropriate. I understand it's a solemn day because it's the equivalent of our Memorial Day, but instead of sitting around being depressed and crying, they got to crash. So, I mean, there's that.
There's that, yeah. But it just really kind of blows my mind. Some of these people, the things that they successfully pull off, and just screwing around.
I guess you missed the article a few years back where the Natty Boys stole the Humvee or was it a tank? It was a tank, and police were chasing a tank.
Which one was it? The guy in California or the one in Poland?
The one in California.
Yeah, no, I remember that one. There was another one in Poland where the gentleman was perturbed with the local government and went on a rampage with a tank.
I think this guy was just trying to flee, but either way, if you leave it around and leave it unattended, or if we get the idea in our head, I'm sorry that it ruined your day, but there you go.
Hey, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping in. Nice to have you. Appreciate you being here. If you have any comments about anything we're talking about, hop in the chat, or feel free to hop on over to the Discord and we can chat in there. You can hop on live with us. That's up to you. And if my stream is crappy as hell, it's because of Twitch, not because of me.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't know if you're seeing it, but it's literally like it'll be in focus, then it'll go out of focus, then it'll come back into focus.
It's because they're screwing my bit rate. It's on the down. It's heading down now. I'm watching it, and it's not my computer. Everything is running great. So even my internet connection is static. It's not dropping or
I
anything.
didn't think it was you after the last discussion, but I'm like, why is it going in and out of focus?
Hey, K boy, thanks for the host. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Okay, back to the Navy. The USS Carl Vinson's aircraft sustained two Class A mishaps this week. Now, for those
Hmm.
who don't know, a Class A mishap is usually loss of life or $10 million in damage in excess of. All right. Now, one of them I would say kind of scary. First one occurred about 1 p.m. on the 22nd of November. Was starboard engine on a Super Hornet caught fire during training over the Philippine Sea. Do you really think it was training, or are they getting ready for China to do something stupid? I'm sorry, did I say
What? Huh? Don't get me on another list, bruh.
that? So something happened. The engine went and caught fire. Well, let's be honest. There's fire in the engine, so something went wrong, and it just kept burning inappropriately. But they were able to return to the carrier, and nobody was injured. 2 days later, let's talk about enlisted again. At about 4:30 in the morning, so of course it's dark. A dipping sonar system used to hunt submarines unexpectedly detached from the cable connecting it to the MH-60R Seahawk helicopter.
Huh. During anti-submarine warfare training at that.
Yeah, now let's think about this for a second.
The
It's
next line's even better.
uh-huh. It was lost to the sea and not recovered. Yeah. Well, let's think about this for a second. You have a steel cable attached to this thing, okay, which is, standard for maintaining control of it. But you've also got um, the cable that is attached to it so that it can transmit information back and forth. How did that cable snap?
Uh,
Because
See, what had
that's
happened is some seamen forgot to put the hooks on it and properly attach it, and they probably only like grazed it, and it was dark, and they were tired, and it, oops,
yeah, I'm not making excuses. It's enlisted, hard at work again.
shit
So
happens to all branches.
I just find it amusing.
But how
That
much did those two accidents? Those you said it's what over 10 million in
um,
damage.
I'm sorry, loss of life for over 2.5 million in damage. My mistake. I stand
So
corrected.
there's two at $5 million just going by their what the
At
definition is. So 500 plus million. Nice.
or 5 million, a
Or
minimum.
yeah, 5 million minimum. So oopsie.
Yeah. The Carl Vinson deployed in August to the West Pacific waters of the 7th Fleet and became the first carrier to deploy with the F-35C Joint Strike Fighter. That's a mouthful.
Hmm,
um,
fucking Navy.
you know, there.
I can't. I just can't with them. Didn't they like burn down like an entire fucking uh ship?
No, not they. There was one individual
But
where
still.
they went wrong was they forgot how to fight a freaking fire on a ship. I mean, once they identified it, they should have been able to put it out, but no. And it took, what, 2 days for them to put that fire out?
Mm-hmm.
It's a ship. It's made of metal.
Yep. I'm not gonna even go there. My other half is freaking a Navy vet. My dad was a Navy vet, so I'm just gonna sit here and laugh because I've heard stories.
Oh, I'm
So
sure. Most of them not safe for work.
my poor dad, if I mistakenly called anything a boat's something you row. It's a freaking ship. Yes, sir.
Okay. On to the next story. Here's the Army. Army launches inquiry into the startling NFL game flyover by Fort Campbell pilots. Okay. The C-47 Chinook from 101st Airborne Division flew over Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee on the 14th of November. It came under scrutiny and the FAA, allegedly, because they flew kind of into the stadium.
At least they didn't draw sky dicks.
There's that. So apparently, flying, doing a flyover in a helicopter, you're just supposed to maintain altitude and keep going. Well, these brain surgeons, it's either an officer or a warrant officer, decided to dip down kind of into the stadium over the field. Didn't land or anything, didn't drop all the way down, just kind of came a little lower.
So it basically startled people, and so that's why it's a stink.
Oh, it just people, oh my God, it was so scary. It's not scary, you assholes. Just come
I
on.
mean, have they never seen the angels or anything fly over? And I know that's intentional and they're low, but I mean, if you're sitting there and a helicopter's coming at you and it's not smoking or anything like that or acting out of control, it's not gonna land on your fucking head. And if you sit there while it lands on your fucking head, I mean, that's kind of your problem.
Yeah, I don't know what
You couldn't see a giant
regulations.
Chinook coming for you? Come on
you
now.
you better hurt it. Um, of course, actually, I think this was an officer who's an '06, if memory serves. Um, because they've got to get somebody from another unit to run the investigation or the inquiry. Uh, for the Army,
I
it's a
mean,
fifteen
the
six.
fucking it's looking like the FAA is even trying to find out what laws were broken, which means they're going to reach just to make an example. We know how this goes. You draw one sky dick, you dip a Chinook too low, and next thing you know, everybody's pissed off.
Yeah. Um, okay, so yeah, he's a senior, probably was a colonel. So he's in the '06 club.
Hmm.
Um, Travis Habahab.
Ha ba 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 ba.
Yeah. Um, was
If
recently
you're
cleared.
listening, call us. We'll interview you because it's
Oh,
hilarious.
for God's sakes, yes. He probably can't say anything, but
I mean, we can talk in codes. We'll say, not the guy flying the helicopter over the Tennessee Titans Stadium. Not
I
him.
would love to be able to reach out to some of these people and talk to them. It would be so much fun.
Dude,
Um,
I would have given anything to talk to Skydick's pilot. I would have. I'm not
oh,
even joking. That would have been hilarious. I did get to talk to the guy from that made the news in Florida when he was drunk and everybody at Waffle House disappeared. So he went back there and made his own food. That Marine. I did get to talk to him once, though. That was pretty funny.
but I could just imagine that too. Believe me. Um,
I'll have to
I
start
mean, you
introducing
got
you
to
to some of
wonder
my friends.
about Skydick. You got to wonder who was watching that and decided that they were going to monitor it at the same time. Because once you click off that screen, it wipes the trail out.
I don't know. Sometimes I think that people look for reasons to discredit the military. Even to me, this seems harmless, and I understand there's air laws and all that, blah blah. To me, it seems harmless. He was just like saying hello, and it may have startled him, but I think people look for any reason to, discredit the military and say what they want and see this is why we don't need the military, blah blah blah. But before I go off into a tangent, they sure need them when other shit hits the fan.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, here we got a retired aviation safety inspector, Larry Williams, told News Channel 5, I don't know what, you know, 3-letter company they work for, that the incident could have been a disaster. Okay, listen, dude, were you there?
I mean, it's literally basically saying because they didn't get pre-approval is the only reason they're pissed off. That it would have been fine if they had worked this plan out ahead, but because it was kind of spontaneous and they didn't ask the one of the alphabet boys fucking permission, that they're all but hurt now. So
Oh,
it is what it is.
I have no doubt about that. But for me, it's just one of those things of it wasn't dangerous. You know that. I mean, you need to get over yourselves. I mean, these are competent pilots. They've been flying, in this case, probably for 20 plus years.
Well, so you said it was a full bird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
He's been flying that helicopter for a while.
yeah, he kind of knows what he's doing. And it's not just him, he's got a co pilot because Chinooks require two. And then there's the crew chief. So it's a minimum of three individuals on each Chinook anytime that bird goes up. So,
I'm surprised they didn't make a big deal whether if it was since it was training exercise, if it was armed or unarmed, because that would have I suspect if it was armed, we would know about it though, because they'd be like, and it was fully loaded, and they could have blown up the whole stadium. They could have, and if they wanted to, they would have, but they didn't. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, it these people are just kind of butthurt. And, the real question is who whined about this first?
Well, I
You
mean,
know?
obviously, if you're not expecting a low flyover, it startles the piss out of you. But I don't think it startles you to the point where like you're gonna drop dead unless you have a really bad heart. Like, I mean, I've had it happen, something loud fly over me, and I'm just like, shit, but like I didn't call and be the nearest, tower and go, excuse me, were those people allowed to be flying that low? Was it a train? I just didn't care enough. I was just like, oh, that was a heart rush. Thank you. Bye.
Oh yeah, I mean, I live right next to an Air Force base here in Texas, and there's times where I'll be cruising down the road in front of the base, not even paying attention. All of a sudden, whoosh! There goes a
Oh yeah.
freaking a jet, and it's like 50 feet, 60 feet,
Even
maybe.
even when you live on an Air Force base, you get used to the sounds, and, like, when I got home, I couldn't sleep, but there's times where you're sitting there holding a freaking cup of coffee, and next thing you know, you done dumped it out on your lap or in the floor because you wasn't paying attention and didn't expect it, but, I mean, it was still never worth me going over to see if they were supposed to be doing what they were doing. I didn't care.
Oh yeah, well, I've been here for 4 months. I don't even hear them when I'm home. The only time I actually hear them
Literally
is when
got
I
out
open
and
the
couldn't
door, I go
sleep.
outside.
I had to start sleeping with a fan because I was like, it is too damn quiet. Because I lived on a base that had the warthogs and
Hmm.
the freaking fuck cargo planes. So they were always coming and going. And
Oh yeah.
but I mean, jets would land there, and it just wasn't a big deal to me. And it wasn't in Texas either. I mean, planes tend to be on an Air Force base. That's why they're called the Air Force.
Unless you're Army, because they roll the C-130s and some other other variants. Um,
But I'm with you. Who was it, the people in the crowd, or was it somebody that I paid good money for this private box seat and I spilled my Chardonnay?
well, it's a Chinook. It's not capable of breaking the sound barrier even in a nosedive. Okay. Um, so it's not like you couldn't hear it coming. They are not quiet helicopters. These things
They're
make a
not
ton of
small either,
noise.
so you would see the motherfucker, like you could tell if it was erratic. And like I said, people are probably like, "Oh my god, it was gonna crash," but you could tell if it was out of control versus they're just going low.
Well, those are people with common sense versus public.
Common sense ain't that common, bro.
That's what. Hey, we need to change the name because it's not common sense. You know, it's uncommon.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things of they were goofing around.
Thought it'd
Nobody's
be
lives were put in
funny,
danger any different than if they just did a flyover,
and it
500
probably gonna
feet.
cost the colonel, either he's gonna lose some rank or he's gonna lose his job because everything is way too fucking serious anymore.
I can tell you right now, the colonel's not gonna lose his job. Hi, Panda. Nice to see you. Thanks for hopping in. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, no, common sense is not as common as it should be. I mean, even I've got kids and I did my best, but they're still idiots. I love them to death. Um, but it's he's probably gonna lose his command. That's about as far as it's gonna go. I mean, he's in the '06 club, as much as I hate to say it. But at this point, the FAA is not involved. That has been made public. Okay. Even the Army does not know or has not been contacted by the FAA in regards to
Well,
this incident.
I don't really think too much happened to Mr. Skydick either, other than he got a strong talking to and so forth and so on. And it may be the same for this. And if I were this guy and they did try to do something, I would literally bring up, well, they drew a penis in the sky and all they got was a stern lecture to never do it again, and I would compare that, be like, it's supposed to be consistent across the board. So if he didn't get in trouble,
Don't
I'm not in trouble, but,
don't even go there. Watch my last show. All right. I have to change topics sometimes because of the different club sets that are within the military and how they are protected the higher you go. Um,
We won't go there because that'll get me on a whole nother ranty tangent.
like I
So,
said, watch my episode 9. Oh, speaking of that, this is episode 10. I've made it to 10 episodes and I haven't died. Um,
woohoo! Why were you dying?
I haven't died from trying to do the show. Haven't
Oh well,
stressed out enough to kill me. And Panda says Skydick was his hero, and he still has stickers that he made for that.
dude. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but that dude was like, after I got to thinking about it, I was like, it only a U.S. service member, especially a pilot, would be warped enough to do that, and knowing that some Karen on the ground, it looks up to the sky, is it a bird, it's a plane, no, it's a fucking penis, and gets all offended, and they're damnedest to, punish that person. I'm like, that guy's got a hell of a set of cojones on him because that is fucking hilarious.
It is.
But
But and the people need to learn to mind their own fucking business.
but I also think the Chinook trick's pretty fucking hilarious too. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It would startle me, but I'd be like, fucking army. I
Well,
mean, literally, that's what I would do.
let's think about this, okay? These are all scheduled. These are all timed. So the announcers are on the PA system, and now we have the 101st Airborne aircraft are going to do a flyover.
What they're butthurt
Here,
about is it wasn't really planned, and the dude just did it. But either way, I would still think it's hilarious.
yeah. I mean, they're probably going to give him a slap on the wrist and just be like, "Don't do it again," or better yet, we just won't schedule you to fly these. Yeah. But I guarantee, if nothing else, is this colonel's going to retire with everything, and be able to tell a story later on. Okay, something for our Marines. Here's stupidity hard at work.
Wait, what? Let me read that again.
Gunnery sergeants who never went to boot camp may be coming to the Marine Corps.
Huh?
Not just
What?
wait. Not
How much?
just gunnies.
How
Okay.
much fucking? Are they eating the old school crayons that have the fucking metal in them and stuff? And are they getting poisoned and their brains rotting? Huh?
The Marine Corps is considering bypassing basic training and basic school for officers to
Oh God!
wait. Okay. To try and get new talent into the Marine Corps. All right. As lieutenant colonels or gunnery sergeants, depending on what the job is. I can't think of any dumber idea that they could have come up with for this. Now let's go down here and find out what we're dealing with, okay?
It's almost as dumb as somebody sitting in a home office for a company making decisions and they've never stepped inside an actual box store or restaurant or whatever and making decisions that totally fuck up the entire system. Why do we keep fixing things that aren't even fucking broken?
Exactly. They tried this in 2019 to get cyber experts to join, but it was shot down. It was rejected, thank God. Okay. What they want to be able to do is pull in people who have degrees and experience in cyber and aviation mechanics, and bring them in at a higher rank. Of course, the aviation mechanics are going to be gunny sergeants, and the cyber folks are going to be officers.
I totally get them wanting to bring in people, but why don't you, if this is the way you're going to go, do not call them Marines. You need to call them contractors because that's all they are, because they haven't experienced what every other service person goes through, some form of basic training or something. So you might as well call them, if you're going to call them an entry from an outside field, you might as well call a fucking contractor, and do not call them a Marine because you're going to piss off the real gunnies.
And that's the biggest issue with this, honestly. I don't know why in the world they would think about this was acceptable, okay? For multiple reasons. First
Nobody's
off,
going to respect them.
you're putting them in at a rank of leadership, okay? And that's just unacceptable. you might as well go back to the Army with the specialist ranks for those who aren't, for a while, the Army had not just the, your once you hit E4, you separated to either a corporal or a specialist. Okay. Corporals were in that NCO track. Specialists were in non NCO tracks. Okay. They didn't have staff. They weren't put in positions over other soldiers, but it went up to Specialist 8. Okay. They finally got tired of that and decided they're going to make it, everybody except for the specialists, what we have as an E4 now is going, you're going to be an NCO. Okay. You got rid of the rest of them. Get rid of these. Get rid of the last one. Okay. Get rid of that fucking sham shield. I can say that I had one, but I digress. All right. What they're trying to do is bring people in and give them a better pay scale and have the benefits to go with it. Well, run them through the freaking, the rigmarole. Run them through basic training. Run them through NCO school. Run them through officer school. Okay. Get them in there and teach them the right way to do things. All right. Give them a mentor. All right. But don't ever give them troops. All right. Now, that's the way to do it if you want to have people kind of sort of accept this. But realistically, what you need is either a contractor or you make it a GS position. Okay, an appropriated fund position, and you pay them what they're worth. All right. That's why nobody's joining the Marine Corps to be a cybersecurity expert or to be an aviation mechanic. They're not going to get paid, or they're doing their 4 years or whatever, and they're getting out and they're quadrupling their money within 30 days of getting out of the military. You want to keep them, you got to pay them. All right. The majority of people who join the military, not anything about, I'm a patriot. I understood what I signed when I signed on the dotted line.
We ain't in it for the money, though.
But we're not in it for the money. We're in it for the knowledge and experience. Okay. I went in and I was an all source intelligence analyst. I wanted to learn something that I could do on the outside and have a career in because I wanted to support my family. Now I knew something could go wrong in the world and I'm going to have to pick up a weapon and stand a line. I get it. I understood that when I went in there. But realistically, the majority of people, they want to go to college. They want to get that education and experience. And they get that experience on the job. They get their, the money for college and all that good stuff. But they're not even, taking this into account when these young people, and they're young, they're in some cases, 17, 18 years old, coming out of high school, and they're enlisting to become an aviation mechanic. Well, they're out by 22 and they're working for a major airline or private company, making big bucks and not having to do PT and other things like that. Where's the drawback? Unfortunately, they're not doing it because of patriotism, and that's the hard part for what they're trying to.
I guess my biggest problem is if say, for example, you're in some kind of cyber whatever, that would be the place that people would target. You can't even take care of yourself if you literally go in entry level and start a cyber field and don't even know how to take care of yourself, because these 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are ethical hackers, they're not going to know anything but the computer life. So to me, you're just setting them up for failure, and you're setting them up that other Marines are going to have to take care of them.
Well, that's kind of the way it is across the board anyways. The higher they get, the less likely they are to toe the line. But, this is still one of those things that there are other avenues for you to do this with. And this is where the government fails a lot of times. for people who are educated and have, the experience in doing these things, the money that they're willing to offer, even with a benefits package, doesn't even come close to what the outside world, contracting or, anywhere else pays for these people, including a benefits package. So the government's not in competition with them. And that's where they're having this trouble. How do they fix it? It's kind of an open-ended question, but this is not the right way to do this. Such as Matt's or Dark Sword's opinion.
I mean, that's going to be a lot of veterans' opinions because they're going to look at them, and even though they did their time in the service because they didn't have to go through what everybody else had through, they're not going to look at them the same way they would look at another type of vet. I'm just saying, yeah, no, nah. They need to, if they want it this bad, they need to up the money for those jobs, offer better benefits or something, better money, or they need to hire contractors because, yeah, I'm looking at it going, are you even really a service member if you just get let in because you hack a computer?
Nope.
I don't know. I'm just, my opinion. That's the Nevermore opinion. Moving on.
Dark Sword's opinion is the same thing. You're not a veteran. You didn't, you didn't spill the blood, sweat, and tears that we did. Okay. You weren't crawling in the mud, getting yelled at. You're not a veteran. You did not go through training. You are not a Marine. You are not a soldier. You're not an airman.
I mean, their feet don't even technically touch those yellow footprints. Marines are going to be hella pissed off about this one.
Yeah. And they're going to get a lot of backlash, but this is just really stupid on the Marines' part, in my opinion. So, all right, next topic. Oh, look, it's a running gag in the military. Lack of trust in leaders prevents airmen from serving to full potential. Okay.
Oh, let me read this because, the other airmen in the room here.
Well, here's the thing. This is primarily about our female airmen and not wanting to talk to or interact with their senior leadership because they don't trust them to do what's right for them. Okay.
Hold on, it's going blurry again. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to reread this part. She had to sign an agreement saying she would not participate. Okay.
Look at it in Discord. I've got it streamed there. You should be able to read it easier.
I'm looking in Discord, but that's the one that keeps going.
Really?
All right. So I am a late 90s Air Force vet.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. All right. That policy has been gone for I don't know how many years, right?
Yes.
So she had to sign an agreement saying she would not participate in homosexual behavior as part of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. All right. Number one.
Let's go ahead and point out right now during the show that signing that document is a violation of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm not kidding.
No, I remember the Don't Ask, Don't Tell days. All right. And it was not fun for people who were part of the community, the LGBTQ plus, whatever. But in today's world, if she happened to be lesbian, pansexual, whatever, she had to sign a Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, which doesn't even exist anymore, number one. And number two, by signing it, you are, like you just said, you're giving up the Don't Ask, Don't Tell because you have to promise that you're not gay.
Oh, not even that. Just not homosexual behavior at all.
So y'all aren't worried, and I'm sorry, Dark, but I'm getting ready to go down a rabbit hole. Y'all
Mm,
aren't worried about the amount of rape that goes on through the fucking branches of service. You're worried about homosexual behavior. That's what we're worried about in
well,
this
no,
day and age.
no, not this day and age. This is from previously. This she's talking about when she uh when she joined the Air Force ROTC at
But
Boston
but
College.
back then it was even worse. I'm sitting here going, you're breaking an agreement, and that was what you were worried about. You weren't worried about her safety. You were worried about her promising
Yes,
to not be to participate in homosexual behavior whatsoever.
exactly.
But that's what you for the last mm,
Now again, don't ask, don't tell is gone. That's neither
absolutely.
here nor
But
there.
I was in the service, and I was during don't ask, don't tell, and you didn't have to sign anything. You just, like they said, you don't ask and you don't tell. If you're asked, they're violating the don't ask, don't tell. If you tell, you're violating the don't ask, don't tell. Nobody can walk up and say, "Hey, are you gay? I need you to sign this and promise you won't be." That in
Yeah.
itself is an oxymoron.
Well, again, that's a violation of the don't ask, don't tell policy, is what I was pointing out.
This is
Now,
so stupid.
calm down, take a breath. Okay.
This is the dumbest shit I've read in a while.
Oh no, it gets better. Well, why is there a lack of trust in leadership in the military? Okay, it is because there's the good old boy club. There's the, E7, E8, E9, 06, 05. These clubs that are protected. I'm air quoting that one from a lot of stupidity, and I've detailed some of this in previous shows. Why would you want to go to your NCOs if you don't think they are going to do what is necessary to protect you, in your, day-to-day work schedules and, in your life? There's a lot of problems in the military, and the number one problem that I have always had and I will always have is order comes down from leadership. We want information on these 5 topics. Okay. Well, down at that bottom level, your E1, E4s, we're going to put together everything there is to it. Okay. We're going to coalesce all that information and we're going to provide that information to our NCO. Now, our NCO is going to go over it and he's going to make a decision as to whether or not that what information he or she deems necessary to go up because they think they know what needs to be done instead of just going, okay, thank you, sign off, next person. And as it goes up the chain of command, before it gets up to that requester, be it a colonel, general, whatever, it has gone through a revision at every single desk. Okay. So by the time that information makes it up to whoever's in charge, it has been whitewashed so it doesn't look horrific. That being said, when things like this happen, I mean, we saw it last year and a half with Fort Hood. Okay. Things were not being pushed up the chain of command like they are supposed to be done. It's being whitewashed. It's being hidden. Okay. Because they don't want people to find out that there's something wrong going on. And it took national news coverage to get anybody to look at it. Okay. This is still happening to this day. I guarantee you, across the military as a whole, people are service members and family members are being murdered. Okay. They're disappearing. They are being sexually assaulted and sexually harassed. And when these people report, obviously not the murders, but when these people report that there is an issue, somebody is being harassed or assaulted, the command structure is not, one, separating that other individual from them. Okay. 2, they are not punishing them appropriately. They're getting them in and talking to them going, bad boy, don't do it again. No, you broke the rules. That is a violation of law. You need to be Article 15, get a go more, be drummed out of the military. These things have no place in this military, okay? Because we're supposed to be able to trust that person to our right and that person to our left when we get in if we're in the shit, all right? We need to trust that they're going to be there in a full mental and physical capacity. And it doesn't work out that way when these things happen. And then when you have a command structure that sweeps it under the rug, then guess what happens? It just goes down so fast and so hard, it's not even funny. It disgusts me. All right, I'm off my soapbox.
Um, yeah, I'm not even if I jump up there, you'll spend until whenever your show ends on that. But let's just say that even in this day and age, there are plenty of people that I have had to help that still work under the very same command that did them dirty
Mhm.
and violated not only military law, but state and federal law. And they literally are still under the same command. So that person ends up getting themselves thrown out versus having to face it because, like you said, it's bad boy, or I will say bad girl, because bad
Yeah,
things can happen both sides. But it's literally, I mean, like, Hood basically screams there's a serial killer around and nobody gave a shit.
exactly. You know, there's just too many problems across the military. I mean, I don't. We're going to take the Army and the Navy. I'm not so sure about the Air Force, but in the Army and the Navy, there have been reports in the past of known active gangs running on military bases and on ships in the Navy. At one point in time, the USS Enterprise, before its decommissioning, had 4 known gangs activated, working, uh, actively functioning on the ship. If that doesn't scare people, I don't know what's going to, because they knew they were there. They never removed them.
I mean, it took how much news coverage for them to go to the base commander and say, "Hey, dude, how come like 27 people in the last 2.5 years are either missing or dead? I mean, what do you do about it?" But like you said, I can't say 100% whether he was aware or not aware because, like you said, E1 tells an E2, E2 tells the E4, the E4 tells the Sarge, and next thing you know, it's down to the bare minimum, and they've left out some really important details because that person decided what was important versus, what's actually important.
Well, when it comes to reporting an incident of that nature, once it hits an NCO, that NCO should be going direct if they haven't already. Okay, sit them down. What's going on? What happened? Explain this to me. Let's get CID. Let's get NCIS, whoever in here, and give them a statement. Let's get this.
And if you can't handle it, and I understand, it's one army base. If you can't handle it, then call in help because they were like, we were trying to handle it in house. Handle what? The fact that there's probably still a potential serial killer who's just laying low because the news made everything finally public.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just saw an article not too long ago that somebody from was dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever.
Yep. I've seen news articles recently that at least I think 4 service members in Alaska have been found dead in their off post residences.
Like I said, everybody else is from the outside looking at these news articles like, bro, either you've got a hell of a lot of killers on the loose in the military, or there's a serial killer or something, and we're all, how come
Yeah.
we can see that, but y'all can't? So it is unfortunate, but unfortunately, that's the way, I mean, it works like that in the real world too. Problems don't go all the way up the chain the way they should, but do better, people. That's all I can say
Yeah,
without ranting.
that's what we need. We need to do better. We're supposed to be human beings. We're supposed to take care of each other.
Hmm.
That ain't happening. But, don't put me in charge because, they won't like me.
Mm,
I will
we'll
start,
lose we'll
I will,
lose half our fucking command if I was in charge, so let's not and say
I
we
bet it'd
didn't.
be more than that.
Oh, I know it would because I mean, oh, so this person sexually harassed 7 different women. Let's blame the 7 different women. Leave them in fucking charge of more women,
No,
dumbasses. I
no, you're
mean,
an E1
or
and not,
men.
yeah. Now you're an E1 and you have a dishonorable discharge and you're going to be confined for a year.
Let's just say at least it was that way back in the day, and I suspect it's still that way. The person who gets reported it ends up with an Article 15, and the
Mhm.
person or peoples who did it ends up with not a goddamn thing on their career record. Let's just put it that way. I'm not
And
speaking from experience or anything,
no,
or
no,
am I?
I mean, and that's just it. They're not, their reprisals are not supposed to happen, but they do. And that is beyond unacceptable. But a lot of these, especially the younger members of the military, don't understand that they can go to the IG and report it too.
Oh, they're probably not given any kind of resources. I
Mm.
mean, all I got was a stern talking to from the captain and Ada Article 15. And I was like, yeah, but the problem stems from other things, and this is
Yeah,
what's going on, and nothing came of that. Just
exactly,
my Article
exactly.
15 or 3. They
And
never sat there, and I'm not going to go into too deep
yeah,
because I just this isn't the show for it right now. If more females were on, that'd be one thing, but no offense.
hey,
Let's just say when you see someone's behavior going from a really great airman and you watch them going downhill to constantly being in trouble, you might want to see what's going on with the person. Instead, you just keep, letting them, I don't know, downward spiral and in whatever went on instead of paying attention to your people. And I know people are going to say, well, people are in command of this many. You're going to tell me that there is no way that nobody notices when a perfectly good soldier, male or female, starts acting different and they don't question it or see what's going on. Of course they fucking don't, because then that's extra work.
it's not only that, but the way the chain of command works is they're supposed to be keeping an eye on these younger soldiers,
Or
make
if they're
sure
so
things.
scared of the ones that are doing it that
Hmm.
they won't step in because they know that whatever that airman or soldier or whatever is going, they're going to start going through the same shit
Hmm.
because they see that they're being targeted from. And I'm sorry, sounds like I'm whining, but that's just the reality of reporting shit in the
Yep.
military.
Nope. Sadly, it is, and it needs
The
to be
victim is
corrected.
always made worse to feel worse unless it happens to somebody that is, like if it was an E1 messing with a fucking, like, sexually harassed or assaulted a fucking colonel or a general or a general's wife, they all over that shit. But
Oh
reverse
yeah.
it down to
Oh
it's the general on an E1, they're not going to do shit. I'm
no,
sorry, but they're not.
you're right. They're
Unless
not.
somebody wants if you want that person out of the way, somebody will act. If that person is your bestie and you get away with murder, then you're not going to challenge that person. It's all about it's a game of political chess in the military, just like it is in the real world.
Yep.
And if that general butters your bread, you are not going to take on that general, even though it's the right thing to do. See, it's really easy to look the other way. It is hella hard to do the right every time.
Yeah, because they make it so difficult to do that. All right, so let's go on. We get off this topic. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna get me mad. We're good though.
Yeah, let's have a little fun. Deer
Huh.
seen wandering in Alberta town, Canada, with antlers full of Christmas lights.
Okay, that's got a video. Can you play the video? Because I kind of want to see the deer. Will it play? I don't want to break your shit because I know not your shit, but Twitch.
Here it is. Just
he
cruising around town. I got my
fucking got
jingles
tangled
on.
in the he got tangled in the tinsel, y'all.
Yeah, and it's annoying his
Poor
face.
Buck
He
has
said buck.
Christmas lights all wrapped
Aw.
up in them.
He
I
ran
mean,
through
I know that's
somebody's
not cool.
bushes.
He's got his little
Well, I mean, that's a
girlfriend there.
safety issue, but at the same time, I'm going.
I don't think I want to be a YouTube star for getting gored to death by
Jump on the deer and
a
wrestle
coyote
him off.
buck. I
Do
don't
it.
know. I'm fascinated. I don't know about you
Do
guys.
it. Damn it. No balls.
Well, the local constables are telling them to do not try and approach the deer to take them off.
It's not funny because I know that those could be dangerous and get the deer tangled on stuff, but at the same is wandering through residential neighborhood, chilling on the people's lawns with at least they weren't lit up. It'd be even better if they were battery powered and were on.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking the
But
same
then I'd be
thing.
worried that somebody like tackled a deer and put Christmas lights on its head.
Well, that's happily not what happened. Is he probably, somebody had some in their shrubs or whatever, and he was munching and it got hooked in his
When
antlers.
you meet my buddy from Alaska, he's going to be he loves to tell the wildlife stories because he works as a contractor on an Air Force base, and the bear and moose stories are phenomenal. You will love it.
Oh yeah, my mom worked in Alaska for many years, and the stories that it just somebody's cooking and have got the window open, they look away and come back and there's a moose eating their pie.
Oh, I mean, he said there's times where they're sitting at a fucking crosswalk and the fucking moose, I call them mesas, the fucking moose literally know how to work the crosswalk, so they wait until it's safe and they cross just like fucking pedestrians. Like there's moose crossing. And he said it's hilarious because they actually know how to work it.
Yeah, no, they're smart animals.
But that poor deer. I mean, I hope they got that off because that will cause him to get tangled in underbrush. It'll keep him from being able to during rutting season and all that. And he can't itch his antlers.
Well, I don't know what time of year it happens when they lose their antlers. It should be, I think, in the springtime. So hopefully, they get out there and maybe, tranquilize them or something to get them off. I don't know, but that's up to them. And unbelievably, not Florida man. Colorado man sets mom's home ablaze trying to clear cobwebs with a blowtorch.
I mean, I can understand blowtorching the actual spider, but not the cobwebs, because apparently, again, common sense isn't that common, but we know cobwebs go up like a fucking Roman candle. Survival tip, you're ever in the woods and you can't get a good fire starter, fucking roll you up some cobwebs, because they'll burn down an entire house.
John Charles Streckenbach, 39, was arrested on suspicion of first-degree arson, criminal mischief causing $20,000 to $100,000 in damages, possession of a controlled substance, and
a surprise.
Violation of a protective order. Okay. I don't know how this all panned out, but he says he was under the residence and trying to get rid of the cobwebs that were in the crawl space, I suppose, using the blowtorch, and lit the house on fire. Now here's
if he's violating a protective order, that means he wasn't supposed to be. But makes me wonder why he was under.
Oh wait, it gets better. Okay. Investigators say the man acknowledged using a blowtorch to clear the cobwebs into the crawl space, but he spent an hour trying to put the fire out before he called emergency services. We have a genetics winner, people. He has won the genetics lottery.
He should have won the Darwin Award. He's not much of
a step up he's still alive. He's not even close to a Darwin Award.
I'm pretty sure that monkeys would know to put out a fire quicker than him.
Now, here's the thing. He had a court order barring him from being within 100 feet of the property and being around his mother who lived in the house. His mother told investigators, wait for it, she's been allowing him to stay there because he's been homeless.
Oh, well, I like the next line because this people in the world say no to meth, okay?
This is all methed up, people. Pay attention.
He's a Mexican American, and he has rights. But you should never clean underneath your house in a confined space, of all places, in a crawl space, with a blowtorch. I would use a shot vac before I would use a fucking blowtorch. Just my
opinion. All right. Number one, he's a meth addict. Number two, mom let him use a blowtorch. Number three, he tried putting the fire out for an hour.
So they probably could have saved most of the house if he'd have just called 911.
Exactly. Break the hose out, start spraying, and call 911.
Or at least yell, hey, Ma, you might want to call 911. I sit under the house.
Yeah, exactly. And then run away because, oh, wait, you're not supposed to be there.
Hide my meth.
There's something to be said for forced sterilization. Okay. That just,
Dude, you're in fucking Colorado where weed is legal. Why aren't you smoking the green?
because it doesn't work well enough, apparently. And, he's got to have that shit.
Or some dabs, not your house.
Yeah.
Sorry, had to.
Okay. Now, this is reaching back. We're at the end of the show. I was talking about the Small Business Association the other day because NASA brought up, or in one of the news articles from NASA, that they have been working on better hydroponics so that they can be used in outer space. Pardon me. To grow plants while traversing, the distances. Well, NASA started this back in the 80s. They basically created hydroponics trying to be able to feed astronauts while in space. So everything that NASA has done, they've released publicly. So in the event somebody wants to pick this up, because they're saying that right now it's a 2-point-something billion dollar industry, and within the next 4 years it's going to come in just shy of an $8 billion industry. So I talked about the Small Business Association and the Boots to Business program for veterans. Tonight I'm going to throw in farmers.gov here from the United States Department of Agriculture. These also have programs for starting a farm or a ranch. They have different funding programs that you can get into. So much so that, if I don't know what the requirements are, but you can get money to buy the property, buy the cattle, the livestock or whatever, and actually get it up and running. So, if you were interested in doing it and, thought you might want to look a little deeper, here's another avenue for you. If you want to, be an entrepreneur and start your own business before you get out, or, now that you're a veteran and everything. They also have veterans programs, but I couldn't find it directly. But they help immensely. So you want to reach out. Again, farmers.gov. Go check it out. And good luck to you. Do you have any closing words for us, Nevermore?
Yeah, if you're under your house cleaning cobwebs, don't smoke meth and don't take a blowtorch.
Sound words to live by. And with that, everybody, we're going to close out the show. Nevermore, thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate you being my co-host tonight.